Alright, this is Dragon League game number 2, Ryuji Go Zenith versus Kite Haseo. Alright, let's see what happens. I assure you that black is not actually 7Q. And strength. I don't know I don't know this Joseki, so I'm not going to comment on it. But generally, the reason that black plays here is their thought is to get this kind of thing. But we have to be really careful. We need to remember that when we are trying to play this approach, because here's something that can happen, is that players see a really good variation, and they're like, oh yeah, I would love for that to happen. I would love to get into that result. And then they don't consider other possible things, right? They don't actually consider other things that can happen. And in this case, it's kind of like, oh, I know what I have to do if I play this way, but I don't know what will happen if my opponent plays this way. So in my games, I actually have no idea what I would do if my opponent pincers. And because I don't know how I will play if my opponent pincers, I don't play it. I play here. I play here or I play here. But that's because I don't know how to handle the pincer. And so we have to be really careful where we're just like, yeah, I see a good result, and we only want to go for it when we know that if our opponent plays an unorthodox response, that we have an idea of how we want to play. Now, obviously, all these moves are pretty easy to kind of find responses to, right? Sure, this one makes sense. Sure, this one makes sense. But maybe this one not so much, maybe this one not so much, maybe this one not so much. Again, I don't know how to handle those pincers, so I would rather simply go into something that I know. This feels kind of like a fight already. I do like white here so far. I don't like this move though. I don't like this move. I feel like I would rather just pull this stone out immediately or just Tanuki. But I do think that this is fine. My thought generally is that I don't feel like black needs to respond to it, but I do like that the split. But we also may consider something like this. Black may even just consider playing somewhere else. I do like the split. We should Atari now. We want Atari as fast as possible. Let me turn off this AI
Review
review
started.
thing. All right. Yeah, so we want to get this Atari as fast as possible. And it's the same here. We want to get this Atari as fast as possible. We want white to be committed to this one. So we want white to be committed to this shape. We need to make sure that we are checking with our opponents. Are you committed to this? Are you 110% committed to what is happening here? And we want to check our opponent's commitment. Because if they aren't committed to it, then it might not be as big as you think it is. And there are tons of times where we should be playing this. Anytime our opponent creates another extension, we should be playing this Atari. This is very rough. This is very rough. What can we do? What can we do? This is definitely something that I was afraid of. We do end up in this issue. I would probably Atari here and then connect up as soon as possible. Like, the worst that can happen is we let those two stones go. And this move has no effect on this side of the board if we're connected up here, because if they try to, like, say we go here or something, actually, let's just say we Tanuki and they try to split, there is no this isn't that big of an issue. We can just jump up here and start to surround it, right? because we're already alive on the other side. Yeah, this is very painful for black. Very painful for black, and very well played for white. Um, I would probably extend one more time. I don't like this push. I don't like this push. Black does have to extend one more time, but there's no reason we should allow black to extend one more time. And I really want to hammer this in. I really want to hammer this in. We really should be playing this Atari. We really should be playing this forcing move. We got to be really careful about these moves. And I just want to point this out for my DDK viewers. We really need to be careful about this because this creates cutting point. And this is actually a really common move that I see amongst my DDK students and my DDK viewers is they'll play this jump without making any form of extension off this stone. And while this isn't always bad, it is very rarely good. And so we want to be careful that we're not making this jump and creating cutting points, right? There's a cutting point here, there's a cutting point here, and white can do something like this. And now we've given them basically a ladder, right? We're going to end up running out into death, right? And we definitely want to be careful about that. And it kind of looks like we're actually being punished already for all of those cutting points. So basically, white's idea is to have something like this. But now we're losing a lot on the top of the board. Yeah, this is a very good trade for white. Very good trade for white. Very well played again. I probably wouldn't double Hane. I would just extend. I would just be happy with the extension. White is already ahead. Ooh, we can't do that. We can for sure, try this. Definitely something we can try. In fact, I think it's incredibly hard this way for white, right? Because we can assume that if white plays here, black will go here. Now black's automatically alive. White has to take this stone because otherwise black will just connect up like this. And then if white connects up like this, then we can go ahead and kill the right side. So I definitely think that white should just play here instead. Otherwise, we end up in a situation where we're just going to make life immediately, like this. And this is a little too good for black. A little too extra good for black. There's no way this is working. This is very sloppy. Very sloppy. We should not be making this. Yeah. It kind of looks like black is just panicking a bit. Kind of looks like black is panicking a bit. White has played mostly well this entire game. Yeah. Unfortunately, to me, it just looks like black ends up panicking the entire game. Black just panics the entire game. White played this game incredibly well. White played incredibly well, and black panicked a lot. All right, let's move to the next game.